Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. And welcome to Hawkins, Indiana, one of the worst places to live in the country. Today we're going to be discussing the fourth season of Netflix's mega hit, Stranger Things. And joining me for this epic Dungeons and Dragons sesh, they are the most notorious members of the devil-worshipping, cult-defining Hellfire Club. It's Ebuka and Mo! How are you guys doing?
I feel like I've forgotten how to do this.
It's been a while for you, hasn't it?
It's been a long time.
We won't tell the audience where you've been, what you've been doing. You just know you've been destroying the world. You've been making the world the worst place to live in. But you know what? That's for a different podcast.
Depends who you ask.
Most people, if you ask Greta Thunberg, she'll definitely say you've been destroying the world.
Most uninformed people.
Wow. Okay, Mo, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. I've been really good. I'm off today, and I just slept in. And yeah, I've been watching Stranger Things. I think I've seen all the episodes twice now again.
Okay, that's good.
Because
makes it easier for me to just.
That's interesting because I didn't even have the willpower to see some of the episodes once.
Really?
Don't listen. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Just Ebuka, I'm going to bleep you. We'll get into it. Don't listen to him. He's a child. He's a baby. Before we get into it, because stupid thoughts. Let me just.
Because I have a schedule. I have things to do. That's the opposite of a child.
What are you doing today? Like, okay.
Things, stuff.
Okay, before we go into Ebuka's unfounded claims, let me do a bit of housekeeping. A bit of programming reminders for anyone who might be hearing Mo's voice for the first time on this podcast. First of all, where have you been? But also, he's the owner and editor-in-chief of the pop culture website Streamr, where they talk about streaming news, film, and TV reviews, sneak peeks for what's coming to the various streamers. I think they'll talk about games as well. So
we're doing games at some point in the future. We're on the list for that, and we just need to get something to review. Basically.
Yeah, and they talk about all the things that are coming to the various streaming services. So definitely check them out. That's Streamr, STREAMR. And if you like Mo's thoughts on Stranger Things, this episode, you can catch him on their What's Streaming podcast, which is owned and led by Josh, where they're talking specifically about Volume 2 in more detail. So you can check that out as the What's Streaming podcast. Over here on Popcorn for Dinner podcast, we're in the middle of a very busy few days on the podcast. On Monday, we discussed the season 3 finale of The Boys. So if you've watched the finale and haven't listened to the episode, please go check out that episode. And on Friday, we're talking about the Miss Marvel finale. So a lot of finales going on, a lot of discussions going on. And next Monday, we're jumping on the Taika Waititi goat-led boat to discuss Thor, Love and Thunder. So there's a lot of stuff going on, lots of discussions, lots of episodes. I really hope you guys check those out. As always, please follow and subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on. That way you get notified when we release new episodes. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can rate and review us. That way, it really helps us get out there. And I'll be doing that as well because I'm taking a little personal hiatus in a couple of weeks. So I'm excited to see what the boys have cooking for the feed. Or they might just leave it and let it rot. I guess we'll find out one way or the other. One thing's going to happen. But for today, we're talking about Stranger Things. We're going to Indiana. We're going to California. We're going to Alaska. We're going to Russian prisons. And we're talking about Stranger Things. So, quickly, firstly, I'll start with you, Mo. What's your one-sentence description on your thoughts of this season?
Bigger.
You can give more words if you want.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, fine. It's... Yeah, I think I'll just stick with bigger.
Yeah, bigger. One word, one sentence, it's fine. Ebuka, what's your...
Okay, larger than life. I'll say larger than life.
What's mine? I guess mine would be, I forgot how good the show was. And that's like the honest truth. And we'll talk about that as we go on. Okay. Let's actually find a way to actually get talking about this show. So what I want to do is not spend too much time, but maybe I'll start with you, Ebuka. I'll start with you this time because you were angry and sorry last time. since apparently you said this season was good, which is a surprise to me. Why did you like the season? And what are your general thoughts of this season? Now that we know that your one sentence review is larger than life.
Okay, so I don't know if you remember, there was I think it was a Netflix show where we were watching it, and I was like, you can tell that Netflix have money now or something. Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
a conversation? I don't know, I can't remember what show it was or what film it was, but this season felt like this is a. I'm trying to find the words to describe it, but this season felt like this was an event. Like every episode was an event, like a movie type thing,
Oh,
and
do you know the
everyone.
budget for this season?
No, I don't know the budget.
270 million.
Yeah, you see,
So
that's what I'm
it's
saying. Like,
literally 30 million per episode, which is like
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, exactly. See, like, I can't remember what show triggered the thought in me where I was like, oh, you can tell that Netflix have money now, or like they're doing things to break into not just the stuff you put on your laptop and watch on a lazy Saturday. They want to be
Mm-hmm.
that's that company or that service. But yeah, man, the season was good, man. A little bit tedious because of the length, but it had a great story, great set pieces, and some really, really, really amazing scenes that I don't think you would forget. I would prefer if they didn't do their usual drop everything at once and we had like a week between episodes to digest
Oh, are
it.
you coming to my side? Are you coming to my side of the anti binge? Am I finally making a difference in the lives of people close to me?
But like I never really had strong opinions about it, but for this one, because I always felt like you can enjoy things differently. Like Succession every week was nice, but
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Things dropping in one weekend was also nice in its own way. But for
Mm-hmm.
this season, I definitely felt like, fam, some of these episodes deserved a whole week for us to be like, do you remember when this happened? Did you see when this happened?
Yeah.
Blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. Yeah. So yeah, man,
Um,
this season was great.
Mo, what are your thoughts on this? Or your larger thoughts on this season?
Yeah, I do sort of agree a little bit with like I wish they'd spread out the release a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that I don't wish that they did a full like a week or so. I wish that they did I wish that they split it a bit differently, like maybe a 5-4 split or a 4-5 split. Um because episode 4, Dear Billy, would have been a really, really good place to end volume 1, the end of episode 4, and then you have volume 2 as the last 5 episodes, and then you spread that out a little bit over the course of something. But I thought that the episodes made the most of the budget. I thought that they really sort of focused in on trying to close everything, all
Mm-hmm.
of the questions that they'd set up in the previous 3 seasons, um, and really set the stage for a final season that looks like it's going to answer every single question that you've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
there was a sort of inevitability about the ending because I think that you can't really have them winning at the end of every season and then just going on to live different lives or whatever. At the end of each season, there has to be some sort of stakes. And one of my criticisms for the season was that it didn't feel like the stakes were high enough. Um, and I feel like the final season, but I do have some thoughts on that anyway. But it feels the final season is going to up the stakes a lot more, and they're going to do that by having that merging at the end. So I really liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think we'll go into criticisms a bit later. I think, like Ebuka said, Netflix has money, even though they don't have money, but they have money to put on their shows. And I think the worst thing that Netflix has done recently is that they put in the money into the shows, but you can't see where the money has gone. Like you're like, this looks like a very bland show. I never watched that
Jupiter's
show.
Legacy.
That's what I was going to say. I never watched that show. But from the trailer, you're like, I know you have money, but I can't see where this money has gone. What are you using the money for Jupiter's Legacy? But like for this, like even it's just things like random landscape shots or wide angle shots, or even the set design, and it like the, Stranger Things has always been very, very great in their attentiveness to detail in terms of recreating the eights and all that. But like even this, you're like, oh wow, you guys have gone a step further. If only they used some of that money on like maybe Will's haircut or his close. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Will's
Leave
haircut
Will alone,
is
man. Will is
stressful.
going. He's going through enough.
He is going through a lot. Will is going through a lot. But this season, I mean, I don't think you will find maybe one out of every two reviews we talk about how we use the word ambitious, because it's a very ambitious season, even for Stranger Things like standard. Like, and I like the fact that, I mean, maybe we'll talk about it in a second, but I like the fact that there are so many stories, right? I think the creators, the Duffer Brothers, called it their Game of Thrones season because like there's so many disparate storylines going on, and I liked it because it felt different. Yeah, maybe I want Hopper and Joyce to come back and everybody to be together and fight Vecna, but then like it takes away. I want the kids to solve this situation themselves, and I let Hopper and Joyce do their own thing in Russia. And I know I'm just from watching TV for so long. I know people will probably have problems with the Hopper storyline in Russia and everything. But it was weird, and you guys can talk about this if you want as well. I found out that after like 2 episodes, I was like, oh, I'm actually happy with this storyline. And I thought I was going to hate it. I was going to be like, can this storyline end quickly? But I was like, oh, I think it might even have the most like Hopper's storyline was like the most action storyline. It felt like in 1980s, like it felt like Die Hard in a prison, essentially. And I was like, oh, like that when he escapes prison the first time is a legitimately thrilling sequence. I was like, this is very good. And I was surprised how much I enjoyed it after I just managed to stick it to that. So let's use that to talk about like different storylines. Were there storylines that you guys did not want or you got tired of very quickly, or were you okay with it?
So my thing on this is I was really bored with the 11 flashback storyline right up until episode 7, when obviously you figure out that there's a reason for all of it being told, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness, okay, thank God, okay, so when you go into episode 8, she's just going to be out of the thing,
Yeah.
and then episode 8 happened, and they kept on extending that storyline, and I was like, oh my God, just stop, please, like we've had enough. We've seen enough of it, and I think, and one of my things was that I found Volume 2 to be weaker than Volume 1, and because of the things that Volume 2 did, like specifically in Episode 8, I thought that it undermined a little bit of Volume 1 because it would have been really good if, like, just from a narrative perspective, imagine that you start off the season with Brenna, right? You start off Episode 1 of Volume 1 with Brenna, and then you end Episode 7 of Volume 1 with Brenna being killed. So that would have been a good way to have closed that storyline off and pushed and taken a lot of episode 8, the criticisms I had about episode 8, taken those away from it, and just ending the storyline with Brennan dying outside the thing. That would have been better.
But then that means you're not
But it
ending with the
didn't. So that,
reveal that Henry's Vecna, which one might argue is a
yeah,
stronger
but
cliffhanger to end on.
yeah, but I think they could have killed Brenner off earlier on in the episode and had Dr. Owens like talk her through the memories or whatever it is, or something like they would have found a way to make it work, because obviously you've got the Hopper storyline that was resolved in the middle of episode whatever,
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of episode 7. Hopper and Joyce reuniting, that was resolved in the middle of episode 7. Um, but I think, like, yeah, as far as storylines go, I also didn't really mind the Russia storyline because I thought, because again, it was something that needed to happen, and I believe that the Russians are going to have a larger part to play in this season 5, and I will tell you my theories on that when we get to that part. But I've
Fine.
got
Yeah.
I've got a very big theory about the Russians. And some people are like, oh my God, it's so boring. I don't and whatever it is, but I don't think that it's boring. I think that it's all adding up to something.
Yeah. And knowing my co-host, I'll assume that Ebuka was one of such people. So Ebuka, what did you think of the different storylines this season of Stranger Things?
Different storylines were fine, but I didn't like the Hopper and Russia thing. It felt boring to me for a while, and I don't know. Maybe that's because of how I watched the show or how they released the episodes. I don't know what it was, but like for a while, for like 5 episodes, I was getting annoyed every time I saw. Like I was just getting pissed off every time I saw Hopper and Russia. I was like, can we get back to the main show, please? Like every scene was a drag to me until they started making like concrete plans to escape. Even when Joyce and what's the name of the other guy? We're trying to get
Murray.
to the prison. Yeah,
Yeah.
Murray. Yeah, it was funny and everything, but it started to piss me off after a while because at a
So
point, first of all, initially I hated the entire storyline. Then I started coming, warming up to the Hopper side of it. Okay, let me see Hopper in prison, and then the Joyce part with Murray, I was just completely off of that until they merged, and I was like, okay, let's see how this thing happens in the last 2-3 episodes. But for the first five, oh my god,
no, but I
I
swear Joyce
hated.
and Murray don't travel to like maybe episode 3.
That's what I'm saying. Everything about, even before they traveled, everything that
Even when they
involved
were in
Joyce.
California.
Yes, everything that involved Joyce and Hopper's relationship pissed me off. I was like,
Um
let's go to the main part of this
so
show.
even when you saw the man, what was his name from Game of Thrones? The man without face? The
Yes, yeah,
man of
yeah. Jake and
what's his
Hagar,
name?
nigga.
Yeah.
Jake and Hagar.
Nigga, it's been a while. It's been a while. Like I'm
I
not
don't even know
editing the
why. I don't even know why I said it like that. Fuck that show. Forget everything you want to forget, man.
well, you can't
We're
do that
never
because we
doing.
have to get into the House of the Dragon mood very soon. No, like I said, so I did have a storyline that I didn't like, and I guess I'll talk about. I guess it's not really a surprise, or I guess considering what I've talked about so far, but I'll talk about it in particular as we go on. But I was surprised how much I enjoyed the Russia storyline, and I didn't because I thought it was gonna be like one and done in one episode. But I was surprised how quickly I was like, oh, okay, I'm enjoying this. Like when Shakinaga came, I was like, okay. And I like seeing
But you
Hopper
see,
in a Russian. And I also really like David Harbour as a performer. I've liked him since I started watching Newsroom maybe 10 years ago. And it was just nice to see him, that different energy, because there's nobody from the cast with him. He's just like in a different show, a different movie of his own. So I like that. What were you going to say, Buka?
I was saying the problem with the Russia plot here, and that like Mo alluded to a point saying that he thinks the Russians have a big part to play in season 5, but there was no, apart from the faceless man and the Yuri guy, there was no. We don't know anything about the Russians. We just know they're cruel and they've been it took us until the last episode or the last two to find out that they've been experimenting on these things. Initially, we just thought they kept one Demogorgon for entertainment. It took us until the last 2 episodes for us to be like, oh, they were experimenting on these things. They weren't all they were doing was being cruel to Hopper for like 6-7 episodes.
Yeah. But my thing with that is we knew at the end of season 3 that they had a Demogorgon, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, and this is what I'm going to just tell you my theory now anyway, because
Mm-hmm.
the thing is that they obviously have a gate to the Upside Down. If they've got a Demogorgon there, they haven't transported it from Hawkins to Russia. They've got a gate to the Upside Down. So my theory is that either they're going to strike up a deal with Vecna or something, but the Russians want to take over the US, right? That's what the whole thing, the whole idea of the Soviet storyline is. At that time in history, the Russians wanted to take over the world, or that was what the perspective was. So my theory is that they're going to use the Upside Down to sort of build an army of Soviet soldiers that are superpowered like Vecna, and then go through and invade Hawkins like that, and use Hawkins as like a starting point for invading the US. So they're gonna sacrifice or send a bunch of foot soldiers through the Upside Down, let them get enhanced by it or get these new abilities by it, and then yeah. So that's what I think it's leading up to. And that's what the US government has to do with it. They're going to have to develop things. So the Russians are going to use the Upside Down as like this, sort of like this, like a super soul, like a compound V, basically, to beef up to to beef up their soldiers, send them through the Upside Down in this Russian gate that they've got.
All
Yeah,
that
that.
just to lose to five children, five
Well, not
teenagers.
5. They're like 7 or 8. Put some respect on their name.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that theory was never even on my radar, so that like I'll try to see if that pans out. I mean, also another thing is that like Ibuka, back to your point about how we didn't know much about the Russians. That was kind of like, I mean, obviously this show is a conveyor belt of 80s references, but that's kind of like the point of like 80s movies, right? It was just like the big red scare, the big red Russian villain. Like we talk about Top Gun, like in the original Top Gun, it's just even in the new Top Gun, like the villain is just some guy that
You
is
know, the
probably meant to be Russia. Like we don't like okay,
the
like
the way they shy away from mentioning the nationality or the geography of like
in,
this location
in
in the new
Top Gun,
Top Gun.
like yeah, so it's like so that was the vibe of the 80s. It's just like the villain's probably Russia, and we're not gonna like define them. We're not gonna give them a 3-dimensional characterization. It's just like they are bad and they want to do bad things. Um, One of the things I was going to mention earlier is that I think, obviously, with Ozark ending earlier this year, depending on what people think about that, I think this might actually be, and Netflix are in trouble, but I think objectively this is the last great Netflix show. If I'm missing a show, I'll be interested. Like someone let me know. But I can't think. I think recent years we've seen obviously the end of Ozark, BoJack Horseman. Things, but I don't think there's like. I think now Netflix are serious trouble. Like once Stranger Things finishes, whenever the last season coming out, like that's it. Like what is the next great Netflix show? Like do they have one? Is there another like? Is there a Netflix show that I'm not thinking of right now that is a great Netflix show? I don't think so.
I think I think Umbrella Academy is sort of attempting that a little bit, but at the same time, it's like it hasn't reached the fandom of Stranger Things. No way.
Yeah, I haven't watched the new season of Umbrella Academy, and so
I haven't watched it either. I haven't
yeah,
watched
so
any of it.
okay, so everyone take my thoughts with a pinch of salt. But I've never really been fully on board Umbrella Academy like the way I am
Why?
Stranger Things. I've always just felt it like okay, nah, that's fine. I enjoy that
That's
when I'm
that's
watching it, I guess,
interesting.
but like yeah,
I
like
think
it just never.
if I had to pick, if I had 10 hours in a day and I had to pick, or 10 hours in a weekend and I had to pick Umbrella Academy or Stranger Things, I'd watch
You pick
Umbrella
Umbrella
Academy.
Academy. That's
Yeah.
fair enough, but like I just don't like. I've never felt like Umbrella Academy reached those heights that Stranger Things did from the get go. I've never thought Umbrella Academy was like a great show, and I haven't watched the new season, but by what people are saying, many people seem to be more on my side for this new season than previous seasons. I don't know. I haven't watched the new season, but like that's the thing. Like I would never have Umbrella Academy at time of recording has been out for I think 2 weeks. I would never have done that for Stranger Things. Wait 2 weeks before watching it. Like you can't do that. That's impossible.
Yeah, and I think there's also like Netflix is in a bit of a weird situation now because they're just doing like limited series, so they're not doing those big like
Mm-hmm.
now what they're doing is they're just doing like your 8 to 10 episode one and done shows because they've signed these deals with like larger creative like Shonda Rhimes and um
Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy. Yeah, exactly. So they're just doing those limited series, those one and done ones,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're just trying to get the most out of those deals
Yeah.
um, before
And
they expire. And
thank God for that. Thank God for that because Netflix do not know when to say goodbye to a show. Like every Netflix show that's been great or good, they stretch it out or milk it as long as they can.
I
Like I
mean,
wouldn't even be surprised if there's a season 6 of Stranger Things.
I'll actually argue that and say that they cancel the good ones too early.
Like
Like
what's
apart
the
from
Get Down?
no. Apart from House of Cards and like Orange is the New Black, right? Which other good
Yeah,
shows did they extend too far?
Money Heist.
It- Again, was Money Heist ever great? Was it ever a
Yeah.
great show?
Oh,
Was it ever
come
a
on.
top tier show?
Money Heist had potential to be bigger than Stranger Things. Are you remembering what happened with Money Heist?
Bigger is different. You're talking about. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about reach. I'm talking about quality. Was it ever a
Okay.
great? Was it ever a show that
The first
contended
season
for a top
quality
10?
wise, the first season quality
Squid
wise.
Game.
Squid
Netflix is
Game.
doing
Okay,
Squid Game.
Squid Game. Squid Game is yeah. I keep forgetting Squid Game. Squid Game is I guess is their show that is like
Also, something weird. You said you're not talking about bigger, you're talking about quality, but like,
hmm.
how good was Squid Game? Like quality wise.
Yeah,
I'm just checking.
good,
Well, have you not seen
great.
it or you just?
I've seen Squid Game. I'm just checking, like quality
I
wise,
think
how
Squid
good.
Game is very good. I think it's a
Okay,
very well done show. I think it says it has a lot
okay.
of things to say about capitalism and all that. And I think it's done quite well. Okay, so let's actually pivot back to the show we're talking about. So I just want to talk about two things that actually are peculiar to this season of Stranger Things before we move on to other topics. And I think the first one will be that we get an actual villain. This actually I think they're both tied together. One is that we get an actual villain this time. We don't get like an idea or something that's turning off the lights. We get a person, we get an actual physical villain, and we get his backstory. And I personally thought that was well done. in the sense that not that I'm not saying hashtag Vecna was right, but I think there's a bigger sense of fear when there's a physical person actually trying to kill these people. But also when you get his backstory, I guess it makes it a bit more connected to the main story. And that ties in fact with the fact that this season is a lot more mature and the horror is horroring a lot more. Is harsher horror this season. So what did you guys think of those two things? Where did any of them rub it the wrong way? More, I'll start with you, or were you on board with both of them?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the villain side of things, I actually really liked because instead of trying, because they had a moment where I thought they were gonna do the easy thing, which was when Eleven is saying, "Brenna made you into the monster. It's not
Mm-hmm.
you, whatever." But I'm glad that they didn't because it's so rare to see a villain, like a compelling villain, that you just want to watch who admits that they are just pure evil. And
Mm-hmm.
Vecna was saying, I was allowed to be the predator I was always meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows he's pure evil, and he knows and he owns it. He's not saying, "Oh, I want to do this because." He's just like he's not saying, "Oh, I want to save everybody." He's saying he doesn't want to let anyone live. He wants everything to be his way, and he's total. And it's like almost like mustache twirly a little bit, but it works so well because
Mm-hmm.
you see him, and it's so rare to see this thing of like this villain who's just like pure evil. Like people say, like the most compelling villains in Marvel, for instance, are the ones that like you can kind of agree with, or like Killmonger or Wenwu from Shang-Chi, and you're like, well, you don't agree with Vecna or Henry or one or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't agree with him, but you're still like, I'm so fixated on him because they've never come across someone that can communicate with them
Mm-hmm.
and explain because he was doing things just to torture them. He was showing Nancy, giving her a bit of a trailer for episode 9 at the start of episode 8. He was
Yeah.
showing her and with 11 he was like, oh well, I wanted you to be by my side and do this, but now I just want you to watch as I kill all your friends.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's just pure evil, and I love it, and I think that leans really well into the mature tone because it's sort of like telling this idea that like not everybody is redeemable, and that's okay. And I think that it's a huge concept that I don't think a lot of media handles really well because everyone likes a redemption story,
Yeah.
and everyone likes this idea of someone of believing that because they're not a fundamentally evil person, they can identify with this villain because it could happen to anybody. But this villain in Stranger Things, is Vecna, is so like unfiltered evil, and I just find it really compelling.
Yeah. I think
More
it might
from
have been
streamer just
when
more from streamer just said some children are born evil and there's nothing you can do to save them.
that would be the
Yeah,
caption of this.
and you exactly. Some children are just evil. You've seen the iPad kids.
It said,
You
said
can't you
some,
can't you can't you
it
can't
said
tell me that they're
some
not.
kids are just bad vibes. I
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Um.
Have you got any games on your phone? No, go away, little child. Just go away.
Uh.
Some kids, and I legitimately think some kids are pure evil, and that's okay. I just don't want anything to do with them.
some of them outgrow it, some of them don't.
Yeah,
Most kids.
some of them outgrow it, and some of them pretend to be too.
They become Henry. I think it might have been just back to your point. I think when we're talking about Dune, maybe I spoke about how obviously a a good villain could be one that you, like you said, you get their point of view. Even if you don't agree with them, you get their point of view, like Thanos or Killmonger or whatever. But then also just like people forget that a good or a great villain could be someone that's just evil for evil's sake. Like he's just evil because he wants to be rich or he wants to take over the world or like is like the Baron in Dune. Just like there's no redeeming story for him. He's just an evil person. And like sometimes just being evil can actually be very good. Ebuka, as someone who famously loves villains and you like to empathize with them even when the whole world doesn't. What did you think of one, Vecna, and two, the horror of this season?
Okay, so with Vecna, something that I thought was interesting and that I didn't really think about until Mo started speaking was that I wondered if they would focus more on the fact that Eleven kind of created him by like sending him into the what's it called? The
Upside
what's it
down.
called again? The upside down. I was gonna say the underground. Send him to the upside down and like
Underground. What?
basically basically creating him and then
Mm-hmm.
try and like make her feel guilty for that like and then juxtapose it with her losing her temper and almost killing that girl with those fucking roller roller skate.
I'm sorry.
And I can't lie, yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in anything of all time.
Yes.
Just
I
because
was
so
like,
many times I'm
yes,
watching a
do it.
film or
Like
a show
slap
and
her
I'm like,
with the
just
roller
fucking
skates.
punch this person. And 11 did it, so that made me happy. But yeah, like like Vecna, the whole backstory was like the reveal at the end of episode 9 is one of my favorite parts of this season and one of the things that made this season so strong because Vecna had a everyone loves a villain with a great backstory. Everyone loves a twist. Everyone loves um when you can't empathize, but you're like this person is evil and like this is their story of either how they became evil or like why they think the way they think. And then it's just so when it comes to Vecna, that was I really, really, really liked the whole back. The only thing I wish though is that like he's won just because he's really, really strong. But like there's I know Banky's going to hate me for saying this, but like there's no explanation for why he's really strong or like where his powers come from. I know we've kind of accepted we're fucking living in a world where there's like other dimensions and shit. So he's just
Mm-hmm.
supposed to accept that he's just telekinetic and he has this connection to another dimension. But his is natural. Like 11 and the rest of them, were they experimented on or they were natural as
No.
well, right?
I think they all have powers, but
Okay, they
then
all had powers.
but
And
then
then he
Dr.
tried
Brenner
to
like yeah
yeah.
yeah. But what were we
No
gonna say?
Yeah, so there's like I had two things to say, and I want to go back on. I'll do it in reverse. So the whole where did the powers come from thing. I think that that's something that's going to be explored in season 5 for sure. Like
Mm-hmm.
why some people have these powers. As far as one, I believe that there was some theories that said like when because obviously he was kidnapped. No, not obviously, but he was taken in by Brenner in 1959, which gives enough of time for I I think that's like 20 years or
Mm-hmm.
something before 11 was taken there. So I think
So he's
that it's
about
like
30
it,
years older than 11.
thereabout, yeah.
So that
So there's
character
some
meant to be like in his
theories,
40s.
yeah, there's some theories that are like he's he could be like her biological father, and in like like they've experimented on him, they've tried to recreate him by using his DNA, and that's what all the numbers are, and that's why all of them have powers. So I think that that's going to be something that's explored, but I don't actually believe that
interesting.
11 is related to 1. But I wanted to say, as far as the episode, like Vecna gave 2 huge villain speeches, like his, and typically you don't like the whole villain reveals everything speech, but I just think it worked so well with
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
it's like the writing, how it was all written, how it was all edited together with the different scenes of like in episode 7 with Nancy finding out everything, as well as 11 finding out with the flashbacks, and then you get the context of everything, and then it's so rare that these like the kids, they name the villain, like Justin names the villain of every season, and stuff like that. And he had this theory that Vecna was being controlled by the Mind Flayer, and it's so rare for him to have been wrong. And I think that once that
Mm-hmm.
like crack starts to show a little bit, it's like, okay, well these kids really don't know what they're up against, um, and
Also,
yeah.
what and one more thing about Vecna, and then Banky, we've had this conversation before, and I can't remember what I think I said about Homelander in our episode about the boys. But I love when a villain is unstoppable. Like I love when because like with Vecna, once you're in the air and your bones start like it's like
Oh
there's
yeah,
no yeah like
yeah.
I love because you were talking about stakes earlier. It raises the stakes of everything because like this isn't a villain you can fight. Like this is a villain that like if they get you, it's over. Like there's
There was a
no like
point
right now.
in that final, in towards the end of episode 9, the final confrontation, where I was like, I think it was when he obviously got 11 wrapped by with his tentacles or whatever, and I was like, I don't know how these guys are gonna get out. Like I couldn't see it.
Exactly.
I was like,
Exactly.
I can't figure it out. I can't plot out what's going to happen in the next 30 minutes. I was like, I know they're gonna get out in one way, but I just don't know what to do. Like, how does Max not die here? I wasn't sure what was
Yep.
gonna happen. Like, it's like this is so. I mean, yeah, in terms of the stakes, it's, see, I think we have to just watch these things kind of in two hands, right? Yes, the stakes are a bit lower, right? But at the same time, why would they, if you're a creator of this show, why would you kill any of the main kids before your final season? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Because you're just going to make it a lot more difficult to make a final season, because a lot of this show relies on the quality between these kids, with their relationships. Like,
Yeah.
why would I kill Steve? So you're telling me that if I kill Steve, that means I never get a Steve and Dustin relationship again, or a Steve and Nancy, or a
Yep.
Steve and Robin. Why would I do that to myself as a writer? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Mo.
So I was talking about this on the other podcast, about who they should kill off, and the way the things that will drive the most emotion. And I think everyone thought Steve was on the chopping block this season.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone everyone thought that Steve was on the chopping block this season. But I think that if they want to make the most emotional impact, they need to either kill Steve or Dustin, but not both of them,
Mm-hmm.
because one of them needs to be able to live without the other, and we need to be
You need
able
to
to
see
see that
one more
emotional.
than the other. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Oh, I think, yeah, I think in a final season, everyone is up for grabs, because you don't have to think beyond that final season in terms of writing the characters. But in a penultimate season, you have to be careful.
I think the opposite, you know. So first things first, right? I agree with Banky and that, but like mine extends up all the way to the final season. I don't think you kill any of the kids, because sometimes when you watch like a type of film or a type of show, you realize that this show has to end good. Like it has to end.
Mm,
No one wants to see the end of this show and they've killed Dustin or they've killed Mike, and like all the kids have to come together and give some fake speech about how, you know, we're going to be stronger, we're going to be strong for you, when we know that for the rest of their lives these niggas are going to be traumatized because they
yeah.
lost one of their best friends. Like this show needs to end on a good-ish note for these kids. Like
Also,
if,
yeah,
for example, like
yeah.
Dustin lost Eddie, and like
Mm-hmm.
what's his name, um the black guy,
Um,
Lucas.
he,
Lucas,
Lucas
yeah.
he lost Max, so they've already lost two people. They can't lose their friends again. And what you guys were saying about relationships is that another thing I noticed this season, which was kind of brilliant from the writers, is that if you go into this season looking for like all the telltale signs that a character is going to die, you're going to think everyone is going to die, because everyone had their
Yeah.
speech, everyone had their
A
moment where
speech
you're
of
like, oh
like,
fuck,
when you,
yeah.
because I saw some reason, I think it was about the boys. Whenever two characters start making plans, one of those
Yeah.
characters is dying. It's like, oh,
Yes.
I can't wait for us to go to France. Somebody's dying in that
Yep.
season. Like,
Yep.
somebody's dying.
So,
So,
so like if you're looking for those signs, you would feel like, oh, when Steve, was it Steve? No, not Steve. Yeah, when Steve was saying to
it happens
Nancy
to all of
about
them.
like,
Steve,
and then
Robin. Yeah, yeah.
Mike, even
Mm-hmm,
Will.
mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, these all these. So at a point, I just gave up. I was like, okay, I can't. I'm not going to
Yes.
predict who's going to die because they all
I mean,
seem
I
like they're
think
going to die.
I watched. This is another thing about binging why I hate. I watched this volume 2 maybe a day late. I think I watched it on Saturday. I watched episode 8 on Saturday. So that's like 24 hours. In that 24 hours, like Eddie Munson is already trending. And to be fair to Twitter, it wasn't like Eddie Munson is dead that was trending. It was just like Eddie Munson. And but like I'm like, if he's trending so much, then he probably dies. Like I was like, okay, fair enough. I've made my peace. He's going to die. I was like, okay, Eddie Munson dies. If he's trending so much, either he dies or he has this incredible heroic moment, which somehow was both of them. I want to talk about something quickly before because we're running out of time. But I think it's why, because I was watching this final, actually this volume 2 with the mindset, because I know my co-host. I know Ebuka likes to hate. Hating gives him joy. It wakes him up in the morning. So I was
You were
watching the
going to
show
say
like.
love, so why did you say like?
I was watching the show with kind of like almost a defense mechanism, like how do I defend this show to Ebuka if he comes with like a full-on hating agenda. So, but then I was thinking about why do I like this show so much, and I was like, I think a lot of this show is wish fulfillment, right? It's like I too wish that when I was 16 or 17, I could have saved the world with my friends. Like I wish, but like I lived a very boring like life. I was just going to school and listening to parents and listening to teachers. But it's like it's I think maybe also why we like Power Rangers growing up. Like you see these guys doing these things, and like nobody else knows they're doing it apart from their immediate circle, right? And nobody knows that this is what they're doing. Like everybody looks at them as just nerds, but like you don't know how much they're saving the world. And I was like,
Codename
I wish
Kids
I
Next
was
Door.
those people. Sorry. Oh yeah,
Codename
Kids
Kids
Next Door.
Next
Yeah,
Door.
things like that. Like I wish I was those people. And then I also another thing I've noticed. I think personally, I think reunions might be my single greatest thing on television. I think I don't think a death will ever make me cry. I think a reunion will do it want to make me cry. Like two characters reuniting, I might be in trouble. Like I was like, this is so emotional. This is even before 11 and Hopper reunite. I'm just thinking basic things like Mike and, and Nancy. Just I was like, oh my god, this is so emotional. The most emotional I ever got at Game of Thrones was Sansa and Jon reuniting. That's the most emotional I ever got to Game of Thrones. Not any of the deaths, nothing, not Ned dying. So I was like, oh, reunions might actually be my single greatest like things on TV just to watch. And then obviously 11 and Hopper, that's just
I think
it's
I think one worse than that for me is a reunion that's happening that doesn't happen because one of the characters dies. Um,
oh, like if somebody's
that
coming
would,
over and then like the character dies before the person gets there.
yeah, yeah,
That's just
that
pain.
would
That's just pain. That doesn't even
no,
that should never count.
but that's what I want. That's what I want to see. I want to see, and to be honest, I want to see one of the main group die. Not because for any other reason other than I'll feel emotionally like I'm suspending my disbelief enough in
Hmm.
watching this super heightened show about this alternate dimension where Russians are doing all of that weird
Yeah.
shit. But I'm watching like I'm suspending my disbelief enough. I want
But
there to be
there's a body
something that
count
grounds it
though.
in. There, no, it
There's
doesn't.
a body count on this
It
show,
doesn't.
low key. Like people have died. It's just that none of the main 5 or 6, but people have died on
Well,
the
yeah,
show
but Stranger Things introduces characters
to
that
kill them
like
all.
they'll be to kill them off. So they had it with Bob in season 2. They had it with Alexi in season 3.
Billy.
They did it with Eddie with
Eddie.
Eddie in season 4. Yeah, but they introduced Billy in season 2. So
Yeah.
my thing is like there's the season long fan favorite who dies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't and I believe that they're not going to introduce any more new characters in season 5, and that the fan favorite like I want it to basically kill. I want them to kill people off like at pace in season 5.
Jesus
Like show
Christ.
that the
Um.
stakes are real,
Yeah.
are real,
I mean, I guess
yeah.
you can also show stakes without killing, but I don't think people just skate through. I think, but something maybe was saying, I think at the center of this show, really, at its heart, is that it has heart. It's like it's
You
a
need to
warm
feel
show.
good.
It's not, yeah, it's not necessarily, it's not a show that is meant to be like depressing. So maybe somebody dies, but like maybe I don't think it's one of the kids. I still think if anyone's dying, maybe it'd be an adult. But anyway,
No,
let's not let's not theorize on what like Mo is like it has to be a child that dies.
Yeah.
Give me child
it
murder
has to
or
be. It
nothing
has to be.
else.
No, it's not child murder. Child sacrifice. It's a different. It's a different. It's a different.
Oh, not child dead.
Oh,
Um, okay.
exactly.
So before we spend what I think of we might spend the most time on, let's just quickly. Do you guys have any criticisms you talk about on this show for this season rather than not the show? Yeah, Mo.
Yes.
Let's just quickly go through them.
I thought the release was really weird. I thought there
Yeah, but
were
that's Netflix.
yeah, but I don't like the idea of just keeping 2 episodes. I think that the 4-5 split would have worked really well.
Okay, but wait, just
Um,
quickly on that though. But then those 2 episodes are 4 hours. So essentially there are four
yeah,
episodes. Like if you have more episodes
yeah.
and you're releasing what 4 hours versus 8 hours, it's like it's a bit lopsided again in terms of runtime.
I don't think so anyway because well, even if they'd split it, if they did 4-3-2 or something like that,
Oh,
or
so
if they
like
released
volume
every
one, volume
episode,
two. Oh, okay.
yeah, if they did a 4-3-2 split or something like that. But
Hmm.
I don't like the idea of watching 7 episodes and I thought that volume 1 set up a lot of things, the reason I liked Volume One because it set up so many things that I believed would be answered in Volume Two, and I don't think a lot of it was answered. And so I
Like
think
what?
Volume Two, like for instance, who created like what the Upside Down is,
Oh, okay.
because I also don't like the thing that they did about Will's sexuality. Like they opened the season with Will being heavily implied that he's got feelings for Mike, um, and they didn't then answer that or resolve that by the end of the season. And at that point, I was like, it's gonna be they're treating it like a reveal, and I don't think that someone's sexuality should be treated like a reveal. I think that it should be a character story, and I don't think, yeah, and so that annoyed me. Um, and then I think that there was also another thing with um, like the Joyce Hopper, the L Hopper Joyce reunion thing. Fine, I thought that was dragged out a little bit. I think that Volume One would have been more effective if they killed Brenner off at the end of Volume One, or like in the last episode of Volume One, instead of killing him off in the middle of the first episode of Volume Two, like unceremoniously. And even then, we don't actually know if he's really dead. Um,
Who's
and
that?
I would have liked to have seen a bigger explanation as to how or why Hopper ended up in Russia, like what the Russians have, like either a gate or something like that, because that was a huge question.
What are they cooking?
No, wait. What do you mean?
Yeah,
What do you mean? Didn't like they took him from the place, like from the lab to Russia?
Did he not just fall through something? I thought he fell through
No,
something.
yeah,
no,
he fell through the.
no. What? I, s- I'm gonna have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure in the flashback to the thing, like, don't the Russians come to like the lab and take him, or is he in Russia that he falls through?
I believe he fell through a gate,
Okay, I'll go back
but I
and
could be
rewatch episode
mistaken.
one.
I could be mistaken on that. And but yeah, I don't know. So those are my criticisms. I still really like the season. I still think it's the best season of Stranger
Mm-hmm.
Things. I think my ranking goes 4, 1, 3, 2.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing rankings because I just realized the first season came out what 6 years ago. Like, yeah, I don't remember anything.
Oh,
This is my I think this is my best
also,
season, but I'm not going to rank the 4 seasons because I do not remember anything from the
also,
previous seasons.
I want to just say sorry that the actor who plays Dustin, he
Mm-hmm.
spoiled the end. He spoiled Volume One, the ending 6 years ago. Like,
Jesus, what did he say?
like
Okay.
he literally. I'll see if I can find it now. I tweeted it out yesterday. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where
I'm
is
pretty
it?
sure he didn't know what he was doing 6 years ago.
Okay, so he's basically it's him in an interview, and it's saying other cast members, other test subjects besides 11, like 1 through 10, have all like they most of them are dead, but then there's a couple of them that are in the Upside Down that have been in the Upside Down for years, and then
Oh
that
wow,
person is the big main villain, and he says this in on a talk show,
fair
and
enough.
it was 2016 when he said this, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Uh,
like
um,
like
Ebuka, what are your criticisms? I'm sure you have
Okay,
a laundry list.
I hate to be a defender of
Do do you?
Banky came here with like the most elite reverse psychology ever because now I've spent more time defending this show than I initially planned to. But I hate to be a defender of Stranger Things season 4, but I thought like Will's sexuality was handled really well. Like really, really well. Like it's a slow build up, and honestly, like in a real life situation, when you're involved and like you're in a friendship group with 4 other people, I would not be surprised if Will went his whole life never telling Mike that he actually felt a way about him. Like that shouldn't be surprising. Like it's normal for it to be slow, and it's normal for Will himself to be confused and just be sad about it. Like he probably can't even say it to anyone, and only Jonathan is like smart enough to notice. But yeah, like it's gonna take time, man. Like he can't even be sure what he's feeling right now. How old are they supposed to be? Like
Hmm,
14, 15? And like
16. I think 16,
oh shit,
17.
okay, they're old then. Everyone is like dating people.
It's
And
also
he's like
1986 though. It's also 1986.
exactly. And like the world is not the most accepting place of gay people. So I don't know, man. I like the way they handled it and the way it came to like the car scene when he's explaining to Mike that he's the heart, and then he starts crying in the window, and then at the end as well when he's looking longingly at like I love that part of the season because I was like, okay, we're seeing some growth in like Stranger Things. It's not all about monsters and blah blah any anymore. So yeah, that's since I've done my defending. Now my second is like, why the fuck have I watched 10 films trying to watch a season of TV? They need to cut those episodes down. The final episode, 2 hours 30 minutes. I almost didn't watch it. I was like, I am going to take a stand. The same way I've never watched The Irishman, I'm going to take a stand and not watch a 2 hour 30 minute episode of TV. They're very,
See,
very, very lucky that it felt like a movie.
They,
Very lucky.
but
I,
isn't that the point?
mm, well,
It's
so
it's
my
still
thing,
annoying.
no, my thing with that is I didn't have any complaints about the length of the episodes ever because I thought that they were edited really well, they were
Hmm.
paced really well, and for volume one at least, each episode felt like its own film in the sense that it had a 3 act structure, it had a closure, it set up something at the start, resolved it by the end, and still had an overarching story. It felt very much like a film. What I want to see them do for season 5 is if they're dead set on making an hour and a half long, 2 hour long episodes, 2.5 long hour episodes for each of them, just release them once every month and make it like a Stranger Things day on every
Well,
month.
so two things about that. One, the Duffers have said that like
I've said, yeah, I know.
that season 5 is going to be much shorter. Like it's not like season 4 is this long because season 5 is shorter, right? Second thing, Netflix have said unambiguously they're always going to keep binging. They're never going to release one at a time. Like Netflix said that it's never happening for Netflix. But like Ebuka, so
Why
Yeah.
why why do big companies do this? Where like they say they
and,
speak about strategy, and then a lot of people complain about the
and they
strategy.
write it in
But
stone. I don't know.
yes,
They're like they
But
double down
Netflix did that. Netflix did that anyway for no ads. We're never
for
gonna do
no
ads. We're
ads.
never gonna do
Yeah.
ads.
yeah,
Yeah, and now they're doing ads.
Okay, Ebuka. So now,
But
if when Volume 2 dropped, just quick answer. Volume 2 dropped, and it
yeah,
was 3 episodes, not 2. And
okay,
it was, I think the first one is 1:17, 1 hour 17 or 1 hour 15, whatever, the first episode. Then the
okay,
last two are 1 hour 10, 1 hour 10,
yeah,
instead of one that is 1 hour 2 hour 22 or 2 hour 20.
yes,
Would you have felt differently?
yes.
But why? Like, what's the difference? I don't understand. What's the difference?
Just the feeling of finality. Like, okay, I've watched this episode, and I can take a break at this episode and go and do something else. Like 2 hours
Okay.
30 minutes in front of my laptop is in one place is a long time, even if it's in front of the TV.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because I'm an adult and I have a good attention span. I don't know. Um,
Well, okay, now Banky's being ableist, right? Because because
is that ableism? Oh, okay.
he has a good
Sure.
attention span. Apologies
Sure.
for my poor attention span, but nah,
Okay.
I don't like the length was my main criticism. I don't know what
Yeah,
else did
I
I not
mean,
like about this season.
it probably could have been edited properly, but I can't pinpoint what should have left and what shouldn't have been
No,
there. So I
that's the
can't.
thing.
I'm not
I
really.
liked almost
Yeah.
everything that was there. Almost everything.
Well, do you have any other criticisms?
Um, no, not really. To be honest, like this season was pretty tight.
Yeah.
Like
So my
that was it. The
criticism, my
only
main
wait,
criticism.
wait, wait, wait,
Yeah,
wait, wait.
I'm
The
listening. I'm
only thing
listening.
I
Go
was
ahead.
the only thing I was going to say, which they kind of fixed this season, was that I was really hoping that it wasn't going to be another 11 bleeds from her nose, waves her arms, and saves the day kind of season, and it wasn't that. So,
I think what led to that was that the kid literally thought like there's no 11. 11 doesn't have her powers. Like it's literally
yeah.
up. We can't wait for her to come. It's up to us. We have to fix it, which I thought was nice. That's why I liked that all the stories were separated. My main critique, apart
Also,
from the
wait.
fact,
So I'm so sorry. Another
okay,
criticism.
yes, yes. Do you want to just
I can't.
chill and get all
I,
of them out?
I can't believe people thought Steve was going to die when that nigga was clearly Wolverine. That nigga had his guts eaten by bats and then just stood up and wrapped it up and walked away. Like that pissed me off so much.
Steve
I was like,
Harrington,
okay,
man. Well, they
fair
didn't really.
enough.
They just bit into him, didn't they? They didn't. That's it. They like.
Yeah,
well, yeah,
they,
well,
were-
yeah,
they,
but they kind of gave the footing for something to later happen because Robin was paranoid about rabies.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
so they kind of set the stage for him to maybe at like a pivotal moment in volume 2 or something. He gets these effects or something, and then he's he's either like consumed by the Upside Down or he just dies at like a pivotal moment or something like that.
Yeah,
That
but it
would have
goes.
been ideal.
Would it
That would
have
have been
been really
ideal.
more considering all you said of
Yes.
or Miss Marvel? I didn't know you were this bloodthirsty. Would that have really been ideal if Steve died of bat rabies? No, it wouldn't have been. No,
Yes.
I'm sorry, it wouldn't have
Yes.
been ideal. Jesus
Yes.
Christ!
It would have been.
Oh
Bats
my
It
God,
rabies.
was. It was all set up
Mo,
so perfectly, and
Mo. Let me gauge your mindset. You're binging season 2 of The Boys right now, right? Is that what you're doing right now? Is that why you're thinking this like this? Because I don't understand what
No,
has changed in the last 4 days
I
since we
am,
recorded Miss Marvel.
I
What's
am,
going on?
well, with Ms. Marvel, it's a different show. My thing is that I'm all for emotional, like the reason that so many people like Game of Thrones and the reason I liked it was because no character was safe. No
Yes.
character was safe.
Well, Game of
And then
Thrones
you
also had
watch
like 50 characters.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly. And but this one, it's like
and there's a beheading
like
in
you've
like the
seen
first 5 minutes of Game of Thrones. Like they're
yeah,
like, oh, this is the show we are. That's not strange. Anyway, Mo is bloodthirsty. That's the main takeaway from this episode.
No, but even if you want to kill Steve, right? You can't expect Dustin to lose both Eddie and Steve. Like
that would
I
have been.
wouldn't even
well
allow
then,
that happen.
well, no, but then you couldn't, but then you
Obviously
didn't have
not
to kill
allowed
Eddie.
that
But then
Okay,
you couldn't kill Eddie. You didn't have to kill Eddie because Eddie was a fan favorite. So you imagine you kill off Steve, but you replace his thing in the group with Eddie,
yeah, but
and then you get
that's hacky. If that did that, that would be hacky. They're like, oh,
oh
we've killed off this
that would
cool white guy. We're replacing with another cool white guy. That would have been hacky. You'd have been like, I don't want to see this.
okay. Eddie is a lot of things, but he's not cool. He's not cool.
I'm sorry.
He's what
I think Eddie is very.
he's
We're going to talk about the second one. Talk about character. I think Eddie is very cool. I apologize.
no.
Actually, I apologize to no
He's
one. Eddie is very
he
cool.
is a he is a 20-year-old who did not graduate high school,
Well,
and
not
he's stuck
20,
in
maybe like 19,
no,
18.
something, and he's stuck chilling with he didn't graduate high school like 3 years in a row or something,
Okay,
didn't he?
but we're seeing him from the
And
point of view of Dustin and Mike, and to them, he's very cool. We'll talk about that in a second.
a 20
So
a 20-year-old being best friends with 14-year-olds is weird, right? That's not cool. It doesn't mean he's a
why
bad
is he
person
weird? Is he weird?
because he's 20 years old. And
No, it's not like it's not. As long as there
like
is no sexual component, I don't see why it's weird.
no, but it's a weird dynamic, especially given how like he vents and like
Also,
he
they're not
treats
14.
these. They are 14. They're freshmen in high school
Are
in
they
the US.
14?
That's
Oh, I
yeah,
thought they were
Yeah, see, they're
juniors.
babies, man.
So if they're
yeah. They're
14 and
14.
he's been held back twice, right? So he's 18 because he's been held back twice.
Yeah.
No, because they
So
graduate
he'll
at 18. They
no,
graduate at
no, that's
18. They're meant
that's
to.
4 years. It's freshman,
No,
junior,
they're meant
senior year. So 14,
freshman,
15, 16.
sophomore, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, anyone that did high school in America, let us know. I was just thought it was 6. So how many years is it in high school? Is it 7 years?
It's 4 years in high school in the
No,
US because they do middle school.
including junior. So including junior and middle school or middle like
Okay,
how many
so
years is that in
yeah,
total?
middle school is 3 years, I think. It's 6,
And then
7,
high
and
school.
8, and then high school is 9, 10, 11, 12.
So they graduate at how old? At 18?
They graduate at 18, but if he was held back twice, then that means he's
He'll be
20.
20. Then there is no way. What's his name? I can't remember Caleb McLaughlin's character's name. Why I keep forgetting his name? The black guy.
Vecna?
Lucas.
No,
Oh,
Caleb
Lucas.
McLaughlin, the
Lucas.
black Lucas. There is
Oh,
no
yeah.
way Lucas is in the basketball team if he's 4 years below the no. Like you're telling me he's a junior
Yeah.
and he's 4 years younger than the eldest person. He's in basket. Anyway, whatever. If
yeah.
you're listening and you go to high school in America, please let us know the corrections. Okay, so my main critique, I'm going to talk about it later because it has to do with characters. But my only other critique is that, like, come on, man. Like, what was going on with Will? Like, Will just looked weird to me. I don't know if it was the hair or the clothes. He looked like they were trying to make Noah Schnapp look much younger than he actually. I don't know why for him. Everybody else looked okay, but it just looked weird. We're going to take a quick break. And we're going to come back. We're going to talk about characters, which I think might take a lot of time.
Bunky said Get that boy some swag, nigga.
Well, just I don't know if it's the haircut. He just didn't look nice. He just didn't look nice. Let's take a quick break. Okay, is everyone good to just run through I think it's take us maybe like 20, 30 minutes. Just talk about the characters and
Yeah.
then we'll end it there. Okay. And we're back. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about the characters. But because there's so many characters on this show, what we're gonna do it in a bit of like an awards fashion, essentially. We're gonna talk about MVPs of the season, honorable mentions, other categories and everything, and then our weak links. Um Should we start with weak link first so we don't end on a bad note? Or what do you guys think? I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, let's start with weakness.
Okay, let's start with weak link. Okay, so we'll start with weak link. You can have as many as you want in this category, like I told you guys, but for me, I have really just one. And it's Mike. I think I hated Mike this season. Honestly, I think I hated him. Like I think he was so bad. I hated him so much this season. It's not even like so Ebuka, a few minutes ago, you're like, every time they went to, I think it was Hopper, you got angry. No, it was Joyce and Murray, you got angry. That was
Yeah.
me with Mike. Every time I saw Mike on screen, I was just annoyed. I was like, what is wrong with this boy? Bro, from the moment where he comes on the plane and he gives like Elle the flowers and just completely blanks Will, and then just he's so rude to Elle, and like everything was just, I just did not. I mean, look again. I know this preface that every actor on this show did an incredible job again. All these kids are incredible actors. Like that's not even up for discussion. But Mike, I just did not like him. Did not like him at all this season, and I was like, I don't like this at all. I mean, obviously he had a bit of a rotunda towards the end of the season, and you're like, okay, he's the heart, and he's saying all those things to Elle. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Mike this season. He's my only weak link I have. I don't have any other thing. Like, I don't have anyone else I was actively angry with throughout this season.
My weak link or I forgot to say this when I was saying my critique of the show is that as tiny as Hawkins is, why are there so many black police officers, black military officers, black government officials? Like Hollywood, please, bro. Like we get it. Please, I'm actually begging at this point. Please.
I saw you tweet this, but are you telling me? So are you telling me you would rather not have? So you rather like black actors do not get roles? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. It might be the Dr. Umar disciple in me. I just feel like
So are you saying that you would rather? Because I would rather there were black police officers than, or rather, black military men
But the
than
question
black
you should
actors
be
didn't have
asking
powers.
yourself is why are there so many police officers and military men in these shows, bro? Like why can't they
Well,
just
I
be
mean,
regular? No
yeah, but they kind of
mailmen,
have
no
to be though.
firemen.
What do you mean? People are dying. Who should they call
Okay,
for that?
okay,
The doctor. Oh yes, I guess the
okay.
doctor. Well, that was the
The
wrong example.
the pizza guy. He could have been black.
Yeah, but I also really like that guy. I've seen him on other things. He was an American Vandal. He's really funny. I like him. He's a really funny
Okay,
guy.
fair enough. I'm going to move on from my Pan African Prince mentality.
Mo, any weak links before we go to the other categories?
Weak link. I agree with Mike. I also think Jonathan.
I considered him, but I just felt like he didn't have much to do.
Well, yeah, they gave him nothing to do, and
Yeah,
then
he
they
didn't
give him
actively
this
annoy
huge
me.
emotional. Yeah, they give him this huge emotional scene at the middle of episode 9, and it's like, okay, cool, give him something to do next season or kill him off.
No, I think now that he's no longer playing like the driver, now that they're all in Hawkins, I definitely think he'll have more to do. I was surprised. I don't think I like it, but I was surprised that the whole university drama transferred into next season. I thought that would be resolved this episode, so I was surprised that was something that carried over. Again, so many British actors on this show. Like obviously Charlie Heaton is British. Joe Quinn, who played Eddie, is British. Jamie Campbell Boa, who played Vecna, or Henry or One, is British as well. Just a lot of lucky British actors.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Okay. Millie Bobby Brown, obviously, yes. Okay, so let's do MVP, character, and performance of the season. So you can get 2 each if you want. So who's your best character? Who's your best performance? Okay, I'll start. So my MVP characters are Nancy and Max. I didn't realize how much I was fully on board Nancy becoming John McClane from Die Hard this season.
Oh, Banky, you pissed me off because I thought you were gonna say Sarah fucking Connor from Terminator, man.
That's a good.
Ah,
That's a good. That's good. That's good. I should have said that, but I'm not really a Terminator head like that. I should have said that. You're right. I apologize. We can run it back. We can run it back. I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy Nancy becoming Sarah Connor this season. But anyway, yeah, like she's really good this season. She's the leader de facto. She's like, and then she just has the plan. She's like, you know how obviously I hate to slate shows on this podcast, but I guess it works for this situation. If you've watched The Flash, if anybody else watched The Flash, you feel when they're trying to make Iris West important, right? Like, no offense to either the character or the performance, but like you sometimes you can feel the scenes, you can see the scenes of they're trying to make this character important in the grander scheme of things, right? You don't feel that with what they're
yes.
doing, Nancy. Like it just feels like Nancy's like this is natural. It's taking charge. It's like doing what needs to be done. So I really like that. I really like her arc this season, and the fact that like her journalistic thing takes her to Creel. I think the guy who obviously removed his eyes. So yeah, she really works. She has some good moments with Robin, which was nice. That whole thing with Steve. Another thing, I didn't know we're coming back to the love triangle. I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever. And Max, look, Max is the emotional linchpin of this season. Episode 4, people have said this might be the best episode of Stranger Things ever, which I don't like. I said I don't remember season 1, so I can't argue with that. But like episode 4 is incredible. Best episode of this season, definitely. She's like,
I agree.
I think,
I agree.
I think I tweeted even before that episode 4. I was just like, Sadie Sink is phenomenal. Like you just, it's funny like watching these child actors go from being child actors to actually being adult actors. You're like, oh, you're actually good. You're not just coasting on charm. Like you're actually a good actor. And like she's obviously, I think she
Yeah.
was in the Fear Street movies. I didn't watch those. She's obviously in the Taylor Swift video. And in this, you just feel
Yeah.
like this is a lot they're giving her. She does from episode 1. She's just on board, and I really like her. My MP
So
performances are Sadie Sink, like I just mentioned, and you know what? I apologize to Natalia Dyer, but it's Joe Quinn. I think he has an incredible performance in this. And back to most thing about him not being cool, Eddie is so cool. So when Eddie appears in the first episode, or rather, not even Eddie, when the basketball jock, whatever guy that wants to kill all the
Jason.
Hellfire Club, if you say so, Jason, when he appears, I'm like, oh, this guy is actually not a charismatic character. He could be a politician. He's really holding court and everything. And then like 5 minutes later, we see Eddie at the diner, and I'm like, oh, this is charisma. Like from the first scene you see him in, he's like controlling the scene. Not even let's forget about the characters, like how they're all in love with him, all the Hellfire Club, but like just from an acting point of view, he's
You
controlling the
don't
scene. I'm
find
like,
that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
well, no,
He's
I
20.
think
He's
Exactly.
20.
He's
He's
20.
20.
He's 20.
Around his 14-year-olds, and they all
Yeah.
worship him.
they're
And you
looking
don't
for.
find that
Yes.
suspicious?
Exactly.
But he's not.
Exactly.
He's not what they call it. He's not.
Okay. Ebuka,
What's the
Ebuka,
word?
you're coming on the next Streamr podcast because
You
no,
know-
I'm sorry, no. See, because it's weird. It's weird. You don't
Why is
have
he
a
weird?
20-year-old.
But it's not
If-
weird with Steve. Why is it not weird with Steve then?
No, because Steve's in high school with them, and Steve has a
No.
link to them.
No, Steve is not in high school
Yeah.
with them. Steve has got. Steve is the same age. They're the same age.
Is he? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
but
Steve is
Steve had a
working.
relation. Steve had a relationship with them before, and
Yeah.
also he's tied to the kids by going out with
Nancy.
Nancy
So
beforehand.
so they can
So
they can be friends with him because even though they're in the same school, taking the same classes in the same club, they can be friends.
I just think
It's like-
the way you brought up people worshiping him and him being.
Well, I didn't say
20, like,
worshiping him. I just felt like they like obviously what I used was love, but I didn't mean it romantically. I meant as in like they just really adore him. They like him, like the same way they really adore and like Steve. You know what you guys are doing? You guys are just being. I thought it was 2022. I didn't know you guys were so anti-nerds and anti-geeks and anti-people that like Dungeons and Dragons because Eddie's not cool and have like
Get
fancy hair and girlfriends and a car. Is that what we're talking about? Jesus
Get
Christ!
that
Guys,
Satan-
grow up.
yes, exactly that.
No, I
It's
expected
weird.
more
It's
from you. I
weird.
expected more from you.
No,
I
no,
really
no.
like Eddie.
No, I'm joking. Okay,
We're
so
gonna
what
cut on that.
you
I'm
got from
joking
me-
and just leave you being anti nerds.
what you've got from me is that I hate nerds, and
Mm-hmm.
that some kids are pure evil,
Yeah, and then you're
and that
bloodthirsty.
I'm
Apparently, this is
bloodthirsty.
an incredible performance from you on this
Oh,
podcast. This is well done,
oh,
Mo. Well done.
oh, you're getting an
No, I
exclusive
really
here.
like Edward Munson, and obviously that final. I mean, I see what you guys are saying. You're not going to change my mind because I don't find it weird at all. But I love every interaction he has with Dustin. That final death. Apparently, he improvised the line "I love you, man" and everything. So like, I don't think he's 20, but I really just really enjoyed his character this season. Let me throw it to you, Mo. What are your MVP characters and performance of the season?
Performance, Sadie Sink, Max.
Mm-hmm.
Character, character, and this is the thing. I don't not like Eddie as a character. I just think that the relationship is weird. But I'd say character would probably be it would probably be Vecna,
Okay.
Henry,
Mm.
as
So
a
I
cat.
have Vecna.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have Vecna somewhere else in one of the categories. I don't know if I really loved the character of Vecna, if I'm being honest. Right, I liked him a lot.
Hmm.
I don't know if I loved the character that much, but no. So you can get
Uh,
two characters and two performances if you want, or you can just do one.
I think I more want to talk about I just want to talk about how much I love Max in the season
Go ahead, feel free.
because when so yeah, it was like I was watching it and someone at work was like asking me how it was. This was volume one, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like a huge Taylor Swift fan, and she was like, "Oh, is it a Max
Oh,
season?"
okay.
And I was like, and at that point I'd only seen like episode one or two,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, to be honest, Max sort of like on the sidelines this season. It doesn't really feel like anything. And then I got to episode four, and I was like, it's definitely a Max season.
It's definitely a Max
It's
season.
definitely
Yeah.
a Max season. And I think that like it's so good that they've got these characters that they've introduced, and that Max and Billy weren't just like a one and done character or characters. So they're
Mm-hmm.
still using the characters to call back like things like that. I really liked it, and I think as far as the Sadie Singh's performance, I thought it was just crazy good. Like
I think it's really
she
good. I
just
think it's really good.
yeah
She's doing things that like not I don't want to be hyperbolic or anything about it, but like she's just really doing like it's grown up acting. She's not just coasting on charm like I said or being a kid. She's I don't know. I think Sadie
mm,
Singh might be is she 20, maybe she's 2019.
yeah just turned 20. Yeah.
Yeah, so like she's doing is really good. I think it's a really good performance. Ebuka, what are your answers?
I think MVP character Nancy and Eddie. I think when Eddie
Oh,
died.
now it's Eddie. Now
No, no,
everyone's
no,
pro Eddie.
no. When as a character, when Eddie died, oh yeah, like I feel like getting old just has made me more emotional because I never used to care about like oh I used to be like oh shit
Yeah.
okay fair that guy died, but yeah when Eddie died that was a tough death, man. I saw someone said like that's one of the toughest TV deaths they've ever seen, and yeah, so Eddie, Nancy easily. Then performance, I don't know, man. Like I want to say Max, just like you guys, because she was good this season. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of anyone else that would put on like
Oh yeah, it's
that
difficult.
same
It's
level.
difficult to pick. It's difficult
If
to
I had
pick. Yeah.
to go into my head and I had to add someone, it would probably be Will or Hopper. Like gone to my head,
Okay.
but apart
Okay.
from that, no.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think I had
Dustin
to
was
put
kind
Jill,
of subdued this season, which was interesting.
but also quite fun.
I
Well,
Yeah,
I
don't
have
have
to
Dustin
say
in that category.
I think I think I think Murray was a really good. I thought he was such a he was in a completely different show to
Mm-hmm.
everyone. He was in a Bruce Lee learning how to fight kung fu, karate, do it like he was in a completely different. He was in an action movie, and everyone else was in a sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
And I thought he worked really well as far as like an emotional foil because Joyce was obviously super emotional. Hopper was super stoic and just like despondent. Didn't really. And Murray was just like, yeah, fuck it, like balls to the walls action.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really I thought it was a really nice breath of comic relief. And I didn't like him in season three because I thought he was like. I just found him really annoying. I found him like the Russia storyline equivalent for like a lot
Yeah.
of people. But I thought he had a lot to do this season as far, and I'm glad that the show is letting characters evolve past what they initially were. Because Murray was like this whole thing of like, oh, I'm not, I don't want anything to do with any of this that's going on. And now all of a sudden he does, which I really liked. As far as like wanting to help Hopper and stuff like that, I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, the next category is like honorable mention for MVP character and performance. You can if you don't have to put one if you don't want, but like I think for me performance is like while I said Vecna didn't really enamor me as a character, I was definitely very enamored with Jamie Campbell Bower's performance as Vecna. I think both as Henry, when you see all the versions of Henry, the one that's trying to help 11, the one that when he gets his powers back, all of that, and then as Vecna, like I didn't know until I did my research that he was actually Vecna in all the like in the acting. I thought it was like a stunt person there. I didn't know that was actually him being Vecna, which is really, I think they did a lot of closer shots of Vecna in part 2, and then you can actually see the eyes. You can see that that's Jamie's eyes as Vecna. So I think it's a great performance as Vecna, as Henry, as one, as whatever. And then for MVP character, this is an emotional one. I want to shout out Robert because she's clumsy, and I think we need that representation. People like me that are clumsy, we need that representation on TV. Like, do you know that when she's genuinely scared to go into the house because she's afraid that she might step on the hive mind's tentacles? I felt that. I was like, that is me. Because I'll just be walking, I'll just step on something, I'll just fall. Just like, I get that. We need
two things. One, there's no way you're clumsy, and two, don't tell me that all 6'5" of you is falling down on tripping over shit.
Well,
man. Like, don't tell
luckily,
me that.
I haven't fallen in a while. But okay, clumsy definitely like
you catch yourself
fall out of my hands. Definitely. Like I'm just like, do my fingers not work? Why are things falling through my fingers? So I definitely felt her there. Do you guys have any honorable mentions before we go to the next category?
I already said mine.
I don't know. I think Enzo, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, oh no, you said Enzo. I was thinking of the pilot. I was like, why are you bringing?
No,
and then you said Enzo. I was like, okay, not Yuri, Enzo. Okay, so yeah, just quick. We just mentioned we didn't talk about them because the category is literally always reliable. So like, just the guys that like are always good, are always great. Like the show just works with them. For me, my guys are Dustin, Steve, 11, and Maury. I just think like they were good all season. They're always good all season. Like there's nothing like that was better or worse for them. It's just I was just like, yeah, I liked them a lot this season. And but I want to mention, I couldn't find a category to put him in because I don't think he had that much to do throughout the season. But I do think that Caleb McLaughlin, when he got, especially in Volume 2, episodes 8 and 9, especially episode 9, he shines a lot. Like you can see, like he does his range, and I was like, yeah. Also, like in episode 1, the game-winning shot. That's like Ebuka and I just finished watching Winning Time. That's like sports movie situation. I was cheering for him. The ball was going in. And my hands were up. I was like, yes, ball, go in, give him win that. So like that was nice. And then I think he gets to shine a lot, especially with Sadie Sink in Volume 2. So those are, I think that's it. That's talking about the characters. The rest are like, there's no one that I didn't like apart from Mike. Oh, that rhymed. Okay, so do you guys have any final thoughts? You want to talk about Stranger Things? Anything we've not spoken about before we leave here?
Yeah, just my theories for season 5. If we're gonna do that,
you have more.
I have more theories. My theories for season 5 are that they're gonna go do time travel.
Oh Jesus Christ! No, please.
But it's not gonna be because it's not gonna be the time travel that we're all expecting it to be. It's not gonna be.
Okay.
There's gonna be sort of like because if the Upside Down has existed in Hawkins' past, like it exists in Hawkins on that date, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's stuck on that date for for the reason that was the date that the gate was like stayed open in Hawkins. So maybe they traveled through the Upside Down, and they've come across it, like maybe in Russia, for instance, they opened the gate 5 years before, or something like that, because we don't know how long the Russians have been experimenting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe maybe they use the Upside Down to time travel to the past to try and basically do like kill baby Hitler.
So it's going to be their Back to the Future season.
I see where you're coming from with all the talk about like when they went to the house and the bicycle and blah 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 and the shotgun. So yeah, there's actually seeds for it. So that is interesting.
Yeah,
Time travel.
Yeah, time travel,
And then obviously you want some kids to die, so we know that.
I want all the kids to die. No, I don't want all the kids to die. But I also want them to do like what the kids are doing now in like modern times, like how like a 20 years in the or like 40 years in the future story.
Oh, like a postscript to like.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how I feel about that, but I get what you mean.
Like
Ebuka, any final thoughts?
Yeah.
Do I have any final thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
My only final thoughts is that please let next season be the last one and keep.
No, but it is the last one.
Yes,
like it's confirmed as the last one.
Attack on Titan told me the same thing, man. That's 3 years now. I'm waiting for the final season.
Yeah, but that's different. It doesn't come out. This one is definitely. We don't even know when this one's coming out, but I think they might have shot. No, they never shot it. They're doing a time jump. I guess to align with the fact that these kids are so tall now and everything. So I think they're doing a time jump in story. I don't know how long. Okay, guys. The Upside Down is here. Flowers are degrading, and Vecna is going to recharge. So we're getting out of here as quickly as we can. Shout out to my co-host Ebuka, Nnamani. Shout out to my guest Mo from Streamr. Check out Streamr on Twitter, on Instagram, Streamr News. Check out their website, www.streamr.com. And yeah, I hope you enjoy Stranger Things. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Stranger Things. Please, as always, rate and review on any podcast platform you're listening on. Tell your friends about this podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, join us next week when we'll be joined by the one, the only Oscar-winning, BAFTA-winning, incredible actor of all time, Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.
Bye.
They become unmute or something.
Did you mute me? Oh my god. Okay. Bye, guys. This guy, Homelander. You see, this is how we roll. Okay, wait. This is the first time I'm talking about Stranger Things on this podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's everyone's Vecna song?
So give me the parameters. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
is it like
I was
a song
thinking,
that
like, what's the criteria for a Vecna song?
Yeah, because I just feel like she liked Kate Bush.
I want the Vecna song to be a song that is special to you. Like, you can't pick a song like "Yay" by Burna Boy because everybody likes "Yay" by Burna Boy. It has to be
that's special to you.
That you like for some reason, that like it's not very popular, but you just love this song, and like it's out of character too. Someone I feel like I feel like
mine is Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield.
What, Bruce Springsteen?
Bruce Springsteen.
Or Rick Springfield.
I love
Springfield. Jesse's Girl.
I love that answer.
Ebuka, what was yours?
I feel like mine is kind of cheating because someone asked me this question and I had my answers and I basically fixed the parameters that I liked with. But at the same time, I can't pick my actual Vecna song because it was so popular.
It's a lot of talking. Just say what your answer is.
I have too many. Vecna would grab me.
Are you mad? You brought this up. You have to say what the answer is. And we can't cut it out now because Mo has given a good answer. So you have to say what your answer is.
Okay, my Vecna song, yeah, if we're even going to go, era appropriate, let me do the thing proper, would be Girls Just Wanna Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Why are you laughing? What's funny? What's funny? Why you- uh,
Is that
you
what? So is
better
that what you're
live your
listening to?
life.
Is that what you're listening to on a random like Friday night?
Yep. When you see me walking into the gym in the morning, that's what I'm listening to. Oh, mother dearest. Well, and girls,
Mine. Let me see if mine
they
is even.
wanna have
Let me see if
fun.
mine is era appropriate.
Mine
Oh,
isn't even
girls
era
just
appropriate. It's
wanna
just a
have.
song that, like, it doesn't matter when it comes on. I will always be. Oh, it will just always get me.
Okay, I like that.
I was gonna say an ABBA song, but that might be too common. I think we'll go.
Also,
mine is not era
can it be?
appropriate. It's old.
Her song is sad, right? Running
Are
up the
you
hill is very
asking
sad.
us? It's your. It's why are you asking us?
No,
It's
no,
you
no.
that said it.
I'm saying like Max's song is sad. Like running up that hill.
Is "Run Up
It's
the
a
Hill" a
sad
sad
song.
song?
I think so.
Oh,
Like the lyrics
well,
sound sad.
anyway, mine will be "It Takes Two to Tango" by Louis Armstrong.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard anyone make a deal with God and it not be sad. Like God never. Okay,
Is that what?
let's not.
What is? I'm ending this podcast. I don't
Haven't you
know. I
heard?
don't know where you're going.
Haven't you listened to the lyrics where it's like, if
No, I'm not listening
I
to the lyrics.
could make a deal with God, and something
I'm
about
not one of.
switching
I'm not one of the
places
people
with
that
someone.
made. No, I haven't listened to the lyrics. I'm not one of the people that made the
Yeah.
song number one.
Okay.
Okay, can we? Let's wrap
Everyone's
up now.
getting COVID. Everyone's getting
What is wrong with you?
COVID. No,
Okay.
but literally, everybody's getting
Um.
COVID.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much. We have a. Wait,
Thank
sorry.
you.
Just
Thank
1
you very
second.
much. Speaking of, who's going to see the Elvis movie?
It, to, just give me a second. I'm trying to do that.